Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first meeting of the Commission on License Plates. And welcome to those of you joining us online and by phone. Please be sure to mute your microphone when you are not speaking to minimize background noise. Our committee policy analyst is going to call the roll today. Ms. Thomas, could you take it from here?
Vice Chair Kinsella. Senator Washington.
Here.
Assemblyman McCurdy.
Here.
Assemblywoman Tolles.
Here.
Chairman Ro Moreno.
Here. And would you please mark Senator Kinsella as excused?
I will. I also have the non-voting members as well, which is Ms. Butler.
She is present with us here.
Mr. Manfredi.
Here.
And Captain Hartline. Chair, I did hear that he logged on, so maybe he's having a little bit of difficulty with the speaker.
Thank you. You can just mark him present when he re-arrives in the meeting. The minutes for the meeting are produced in a summary format and are not verbatim. Meeting materials can be accessed on the Commission's website. Anyone who would like to receive electronic notifications of and access to the Commission's agendas, meeting minutes, and the final report can do so by signing up on the Nevada Legislative website. There will be a public comment period at the beginning and at the end of the meeting. Due to time constraints, I will take up to approximately 45 minutes for public comment at the beginning of the meeting, and an additional opportunity to make public comment will be available at the end of the meeting. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. For those making public comments or testifying in front of the Commission, please clearly state and spell your first and last name and the organization you represent, if any. Each time you speak, please restate your name for the record. I know it's repetitive, but it's very important. With this new virtual format, I want the public to know they may participate and provide comment in 4 different ways, all of which are listed on today's agenda. You may call in, and the number is 669-900-6833. Then enter the meeting ID, which is 921-8649-6076, and then hit pound. You may email your comments to spplates@lcb.state.nv.us. You may also mail your written comments to the Research Division at 401 South Carson Street, Carson City, Nevada, 89701, or you can fax your comments to 775-684-6600. All public comments submitted to the Commission's email will be made part of the official record. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us. This virtual new life that we're all living through makes our homes our home office, and makes our homes our digital classrooms. So I appreciate you all being here today. And I know a number of members on this commission have a multitude of meetings today, so we will try to get through this agenda as quickly as we possibly can. So with that, let's get started. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment at this time? Just as a reminder, public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Staff and I will each keep time of each speaker during the public comment to ensure that everyone is given a fair opportunity to speak. We will notify each person when they have 20 seconds remaining. Any additional opportunities can be made at the end of our meeting for public comment. Our LCB broadcast and production services staff will interact with those making public comment and providing testimony to facilitate participation in the meeting. Now, will staff please add the first caller, if there is a caller, with public comment to our meeting. And remember to state your name and spell your name, first and last name, for the record.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. The phone line is open and working. However, there are no participants for public comment at this time.
Perfect. So then we will move on to agenda item 3 on our agenda, which is an overview of the responsibilities of the Commission on Special License Plates. And presenting will be our policy analyst, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Margie Thomas with the Research Division of the Legislative Council Bureau. Quickly, I'll just go through the creation and the members and committees' responsibilities. The Commission on Special License Plates is authorized by Nevada Revised Statutes 42.367004. The Commission consists of 5 voting members and 3 non-voting members. The voting members must be legislators, and the legislators who served as chairs of the Assembly Committee on Growth and, well, actually the statute says Transportation and the Senate Committee on Transportation during the most recent legislative sessions or their designees. The Legislative Commission appoints the voting members for a term of 2 years, commencing on July 1st of each odd-numbered year, and the vacancies must be filled in the same manner. The non-voting members are the directors of the Department of Motor Vehicles, the Department of Public Safety, and the Department of Tourism and Cultural Affairs or their designees. Members of the Commission serve without salary or compensation for their travel or per diem expenses. As background, the Commission on Special License Plates was established by the 2003 legislature. The Commission recommends to the DMV the approval of applications for special license plates as defined in NRS 42.367008 and the issuance of special license plates by the DMV. Prior to its establishment, special license plates were authorized solely through legislative action. The legislature initially placed a 25 design cap on the production of special license plates and provided a mechanism to cease issuance of low demand plates. The 2011 legislature passed legislation which raised the maximum from 25 to 30, the number of separate designs of special license plates that the DMV may issue at any one time. Subsection 2 of NRS 482.367008 provides for the limit of 30 special license plates that may be authorized by the Commission in what is commonly referred to as Tier 1. For plates included in this tier, an organization must post with the DMV a surety bond in the amount of $5,000 and maintain at least 1,000 active registrations. In 2013, the legislature approved AB 189, which created what is commonly called the second tier of not more than 5 special license plates that may be issued by the DMV. Subsection 3 of NRS 42.367008 provides for the second tier of special license plates in which an applicant must post a $20,000 surety bond and maintain at least 3,000 active registrations. Sponsoring a new specialty license plate must be established by a nonprofit organization that are registered with the Nevada Office of the Secretary of State, or governmental agencies may request a specialty license plate. Plates may also be requested through the state legislature. In order to request a specialty license plate, it must be shown that it will generate financial support for services to the community relating to public health, education, or general welfare. The plate may not promote, advertise, or endorse any specific product, brand name, or service, or promote any specific religion, faith, or anti-religious belief. Information related to the application process may also be found at the DMV's website. The Commission reviews any applications to sponsor a new specialty license plate and makes a recommendation to the DMV regarding whether a plate should be issued. However, the DMV makes the final determination. And as of January 31st, 2020, there were 342,433 active special license plates, and the plates have generated approximately $78 million in revenue since fiscal year 1998. I am available to answer any questions.
Thank you for that overview. I know we have new members to this interim committee. Members, do you have any questions for Ms. Thomas? Right? Seeing none, then we will move on to agenda item 4.
Good morning, members of the commission. For the record, Sandra McGurk, Audit Supervisor. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to let you know that I have 2 dogs that are running around crazily in my house, which hasn't happened until today, so I apologize for the background noise. Today I will discuss.
I was just saying we completely understand. That's
Thank
okay.
you so much. I really appreciate that. Today, I will discuss the Audit Division's responsibilities regarding special license plates, including the status of our last report that was issued on September 30th, 2019. In addition, I will provide an update for 2020. Based on NRS 482.38278, we collect and review financial and other information from certain organizations receiving revenue from the issuance of special license plates. Financial information includes an organization's balance sheet, bank statement, budget, and tax return. Other information includes contact information for the organization, contact information for those responsible for overseeing operations, and a schedule of how special license fees received was spent, including any recipient or awardee of money from the organization. Assembly Bill 467 of the 2019 legislative session revised the conditions under which a charitable organization that benefits from special license plate fees must provide certain documents and information. Specifically, NRS 482.38277 was revised effective July 1, 2019 to eliminate the requirement to submit an annual balance sheet and other required documents if either of the following conditions are met. Annual revenues from a special license plate were less than $10,000 in a fiscal year, or the special license plate is no longer in production. The information is required to be submitted to our office by September 1st. We review all information submitted for adequacy, accuracy, reasonableness, and unusual items. In addition, we review the methods and procedures used by the organization to ensure fees are spent solely for the benefit of the intended recipient. If needed, we address our questions and/or concerns with the respective organization. In addition, we work with the organizations to obtain and review all of the information before we present the information to the members of the Commission on Special License Plates in our annual September letter. Our most recent letter, dated September 30th, 2019, includes 2 attachments. I believe the letter and the attachments are included in your packet. Pages 1 and 2 of attachment A lists statistical information for 52 organizations that received money from special license fees for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019. Specifically, 19 organizations were required to comply with NRS 482.38277 because the organizations had more than $100,000 in revenue for the fiscal year, and the organization's special license plate was still in production. 18 organizations were not required to comply with statutes because the organization had less than $10,000 in revenue for the fiscal year, or the organization's special license plate is no longer in production. And 15 exempt organizations were included in the state's executive budget. Of the 19 organizations listed on page 1 of attachment A that were required to comply with NRS 482.38277, 4 organizations did not provide accurate or complete information. Specifically, on page 2 of our letter, 2 organizations, the Reno Air Races, and the Virginia and Truckee Railroad submitted financial information with discrepancies, while two organizations, the Nevada Wildlife Record Book Foundation and the Raiders Foundation, did not post their tax returns to their websites. Since our September 30th, 2019 letter, the four organizations have submitted corrected financial information or posted their tax returns. On page 2 of attachment A, 52 organizations had approximately 290,000 active plates and generated approximately $6 million in revenue for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2019. Attachment B lists the intended recipient of the use of funds for the 19 organizations that were required to comply with NRS 482.38277. Our 2020 letter to the Commission members has not been released yet. However, to date, we have received financial information from all 22 organizations whose annual revenues from special license plates were more than $10,000 in a fiscal year and whose special license plate is still in production. We are actively working on gathering and analyzing the information and expect to issue our letter in the coming weeks. That concludes my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions the Commission may have.
Thank you, Ms. McGurk, for that presentation. And for the new members to this committee, as she stated, this report does not constitute an audit, which would be performed in accordance with the generally accepted government auditing standards. Instead, this is a report based on a review of the information provided by the organizations. Do any of the Commission members have any questions for our LCB auditor? Hey, seeing none, I thank you so much for the report and your presentation.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And your dogs were great. You had nothing to worry about.
Thank you much. I was worried.
All right, that takes us to item number 5 on our agenda. It's a presentation by the Department of Motor Vehicles on the status of active and recently approved special license plates during the 2017-2018 interim and the 2019 legislative session. I believe we have presenting today Mr. Sean McDonald. If you're with us, you can go ahead and begin.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Sean McDonald. I serve as the Division Administrator for the Central Services and Records Division here at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Have kind of, again, a high-level overview of the special plates side as far as how the Department of Motor Vehicles administers the program. So with your permission, I'll go ahead and bring up that presentation.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, so to begin, just again doing a high-level overview of our presentation. Basically, we'll start with a brief history of license plates and the transition into special license plates. I'll touch on those specialty plates that the Commission directly oversees, while also reviewing some of those license plates residing outside the Commission's purview. I'll also close with a brief discussion about plate production and the license plate factory. Nevada's vehicle registration process began in 1913 with the issuance of a small round metal disc resembling a coin. Motorists were instructed to display these metal discs issued by the department on dashboards of their vehicles as proof of registration. Any person who was issued one of these metal discs could have also chosen to have a metal license plate made bearing the same number as the disc if they so desired. That procedure was revised in 1916 when the metal discs were replaced solely by the license plate. Originally, license plate manufacturing was performed by an outside vendor, but in 1928, Nevada assumed responsibility for producing its own license plates. From 1928 through 2015, license plates were produced at the Nevada State Prison. However, in 2015, production was transferred to a newly constructed facility at the Northern Nevada Correctional Center. And since 1928, license plates have been manufactured by inmates housed within Nevada's correctional center system. So while those processes have evolved over the years, the factory's operations today are an example of over 92 years of perpetuated knowledge transferred from inmate to inmate and employee to employee. While the manufacturing techniques arguably have changed, ultimately the end product remains the same, a license plate. In 1943, due to the shortage of metal resulting from World War II, Nevada began producing metal tags, which were placed over the expiration year of existing license plates. This method only lasted 1 year, but earned the license plate factory its nickname as the tag plant. Because metal shortages remained a concern after 1943, in 1944, the state elected to forego tab production in favor of issuing a single plate per vehicle. However, it wasn't until 1982 that Nevada would return to practice of issuing 2 plates per vehicle. Plate colors range from 1916 through 1935, varied from year to year, with colors being chosen at random, until 1936, when a more standardized approach to plate coloration was initiated. From 1936 through 1942, colors became Nevada specific, limited to either cobalt blue or silver, alternating from year to year. Let's see here. So just kind of fast forwarding here a little bit here. So ultimately, looking at the special license plate requirements, now that we kind of have a high level overview of the historical piece, the Special Plate Commission is responsible for 2 tiers of license plates. Tier 1 possessing 30 positions and Tier 2 possessing 5 positions for a total of 35 special license plates. Organizations must submit an application to the department and post a surety bond in the amount of $5,000 for a Tier 1 license plate and $20,000 for a Tier 2 license plate. This slide provides some historical content regarding how the tiers themselves have evolved over the years. Again, there are a total of 30 positions afforded on Tier 1. These represent the first 10. UNLV and UNR, it's important to note, share a single position on the first tier, and both of these collegiate license plates have undergone several redesigns since their unveiling in 1994. Agriculture also went a redesign in 2014. These are the next 18 specialty plates on the first tier. We have 2 vacancies on Tier 1, and we've been working with the Northern Nevada section of Society of Mining and Metallurgy and Exploration on their design, which is coming soon. And of course, the horsepower license plate still holds a position on the first tier. The department ceased issuing these plates on December 31st, 2018. Charitable collections also ceased on December 31st, 2018. And of course, there's more to come on the horsepower license plate later in the agenda. On the second tier, there are 5 positions available. Presently, Virginia Range and the Raiders and the Henderson Historical Society fill these first 3 positions. Like the first tier, there are also 2 vacancies available on the second tier. When a specialty license plate is discontinued, registrants have the ability to retain their plate as long as it remains actively registered. Charitable and special plate fees continue to be collected. However, the plate is no longer made available for purchase. Like most license plates, these plates are subject to reissuance every 8 years. When a specialty plate is discontinued, the next available organization on the waiting list is afforded an opportunity to assume the vacancy. This is a list of organizations presently awaiting vacancies. The Nevada Commission for Women, a women's suffrage plate, holds a position on the first tier waiting list. However, they were legislative approved for a special plate last session. We began issuance of the women's suffrage license plate on January 1, 2020, and this is a limited release. The organization has requested to keep their position and may bring forth a different plate once approved. When designing a specialty license plate, we reserve the left third of the plate for the logo or design work of the sponsoring organization. The design is followed by a stacked character set specific to the background and alphanumeric sequencing. At the bottom, each organization may also apply their tagline. Once a design has been finalized, law enforcement testing occurs statewide to ensure these new license plates meet their intended purpose. Here's a quick overview of legislatively approved license plates. These are examples that exist outside the Special Plate Commission. Forever Strong, the STEM plate, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Women's suffrage, childhood cancer, electric vehicle, and retired military vehicle were all approved last session. During the 2017 legislative session, the Vegas Golden Knights were approved for a specialty license plate. It is important to note the specialty plate does not generate revenue for a charitable cause. Issuances for the license plates as outlined on this slide are not subject to the submission of an application, surety bond, or maintenance of minimum registration thresholds. These are our 5 highest actively registered specialty license plates. Las Vegas Commemorative continues to be our top producer with over 79,000 active registrations. However, as one might expect, we have begun to see a decline in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Vegas Raiders, and Forever Strong. Coming in at number 2, the Vegas Golden Knights has been highly successful, eclipsing 42,000 since first becoming available in October of 2018. And holding strong at number 5 is the Sesquicentennial. Although this plate was discontinued on October 31st, 2016, there are still over 12,000 active registrations. At its peak, there were over 20,000. Charitable fees collected from the ongoing registration of these specialty license plates continue to benefit Nevada state parks and museums. Qualifying event license plates include military, military family, firefighter, and law enforcement. The specific license plates seen here are examples of our qualifying issuances. These license plates are tied to military service, military families, or service as a firefighter and service as a decorated law enforcement officer. Only those who meet those respective qualifying criteria may receive these specialty license plates. These license plates are further examples of qualified issuances. These examples tend to be centric more to membership in organizations such as being an Eagle Scout, the Girl Scout Gold, and the Freemasons. Qualifying license plates, classic series, vintage, and autonomous. Just as there are specialty license plates for qualifying events and service, there are also specialty license plates for vehicles meeting specific qualifying criteria. Vintage specifically licensed plates are available for older vehicles manufactured during the same respective year. For example, a 1942 Cadillac may receive a 1942 vintage license plate. And I apologize, I got a little ahead of myself here. So there's an example here. As you may recall, I mentioned during Nevada's early years of plate production, there was a different license plate issued each year. As a result, there were numerous designs and colors afforded. Vintage specialty plates seek to recapture some of that history as recorded from 1913 through 1961. As a note of interest, the infinity symbol as seen on the autonomous vehicle license plate now also appears on the Infinity Highway road sign at the south entrance to the USA Parkway. Just some quick fast facts. We thought we would include some highlights about the license plate factory itself. Presently, there are approximately 2.6 million Nevada registered vehicles, each possessing the factory's signature product. In 2019, FY 2019, the department produced 1.6 million license plates and sold 1.4 million. We presently have over 200 different background styles. The factory is a self-funded, self-sustaining enterprise operating from revenue received through the sale of license plates. And prior to July 1, 2013, the factory operated from highway fund appropriations. We recycle and sell scrap license plates as a means of supplementing our operational costs. And understanding aluminum is a commodity subject to the ups and downs of market trading, we look for the most advantageous times to purchase raw product. Believe it or not, we use ring gutter gauge aluminum. As mentioned earlier, Nevada began producing license plates in 1928. Until 2015, the factory's operations were located at the Nevada State Prison. Our new facility is located on the grounds, but outside the fence of the Northern Nevada Correctional Center here in Carson City. We went from a dimly lit 8,000 square foot building to a naturally lit, highly efficient 11,780 square foot building oriented to our operational workflows. The department was appropriated $3.8 million to construct this new facility. However, actuals came in significantly less at 2.7, representing a savings of 1.1 million. The highway fund was subsequently repaid back in full, ahead of schedule, for all costs incurred in construction. We employ on average 15 inmates from the state conservation camp at NNCC. They learn large-scale manufacturing, warehousing, shipping, and graphic design, all of which are skills that they can utilize upon release. Technology at the facility is truly state-of-the-art. As mentioned earlier, we employ a hybrid approach to manufacturing, blending the latest in green digital technologies with traditional look and feel of old-style license plate embossing. These advancements allow Nevada to manufacture a significantly advanced product. Even license plates have a life expectancy with an average lifespan of approximately 5 to 10 years. Eventually, degradation from UV sunlight, weather, sand, and road salts take its toll. Graphic sheeting as applied to aluminum substrate eventually oxidizes, breaks down, and flakes off. But to ensure the perpetuating integrity of Nevada's license plates, an 8-year rolling reissuance was instituted in 2015. And this includes my presentation on specialty plates. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And thank you for walking us through the history of specialty license plates and how they're produced in our state. Members, do you have any questions for Mr. McDonald? Or seeing none, we will move on to item number 6 on our agenda. During the last interim, the commission held several meetings to discuss the Horsepower special license plate. The commission determined that Horsepower, a charitable organization that received revenue from the sale of its special license plate, was not complying with certain laws governing special license plate. The commission recommended to the DMV that on December 31st, 2018, the DMV suspend the collection of all additional fees on behalf of Horsepower and suspend the production of its special license plate. This timeframe would provide Horsepower time to make any necessary changes to provide for ongoing care of any wild, stray, and second chance horses, girls, and mules in its care. Today, Mr. McDonald will come back and he'll provide an update on the status of the Horsepower license plate. You can go ahead and begin. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Madam Chairs, members of the commission, again, Sean McDonald, DMV. As the chair mentioned, during the May 11, 2018 meeting of the Special Plates Commission, the commission made recommendation that the Department of Motor Vehicles suspend all charitable fee collections and the sale of the Horsepower license plate. On August 6, 2018, the Department of Motor Vehicles formally noticed Horsepower in recognition of the commission's recommendation and suspended all charitable fee collections and the sale of the Horsepower license plate effective December 31, 2018. Those possessing the Horsepower license plate are not required to surrender their license plates. However, they are no longer subject to the remittance of charitable fee collections. As of June 30, 2020, there were 5,629 active Horsepower registrations, consisting of 5,495 auto truck and 134 motorcycles. Horsepower still holds a position on the first tier. The department is seeking authority this legislative session to remove organizations from the first and second tiers when a recommendation has been made by the commission. This permissive language will allow other charitable organizations to assume the vacancy. In consultation with and as recommended by the commission, the department will suspend specialty license plate. Subsequent to that suspension, and upon further consultation and discussion with the commission, the department would either terminate the special license plate or suspend the special license plate with specific conditions. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for the update. Members, do you have any questions concerning the horsepower plate or its current status? Mr. McDonald. All right. Seeing no questions or comments, thank you, Mr. McDonald, for the update. And that takes us on to item number 7 on our agenda. It's a presentation on the proposed redesign of the Hot August Nights special license plate. Hot August Nights is requesting to redesign the special plate, and today the commission will hear a presentation from Heather, the Marketing and Public Relations Manager for Hot August Nights. If you're with us, you can go ahead and start your presentation.
All right, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the commission. My name is Alan Tom. I'm the Executive Director for Hot August Nights. It's spelled A-L-A-N, last is T-O-M. I'll let Heather introduce.
I'm Heather Liberty for Hot August Nights, and here we're here to present our relicense plate.
So what we do is currently we have our license plate that was approved in 2004, and that's kind of our old design. And we now have a federally trademarked new design that was approved in 2015. I believe you have our packets in front of you to show our new designs, and we're looking to change that to currently. Questions?
Members, in your packet, you have, and on the website for anyone joining us, you have the picture of what the Hot August Nights current plate is, and the new, it's definitely hot with the hot pink design moving forward. Any members have any questions for the presenters before we go to a vote?
Madam Chair, Assemblywoman Tolles.
Go ahead, Assemblywoman Tolles.
It's not really a question as much as it is an observation. I just appreciate the attention to detail that even the PowerPoint background coordinates with the new design of the black and neon license plate. Well done.
Thank you. We felt that really pops out pretty well, and you can see it for quite a few distance away. So thank you.
Okay, with no other questions or comments, I love the new design as well. I will take a motion for,
So moved.
I have a motion from
Second.
Assemblywoman Tolles, second from Assemblyman McCurdy. And I will ask, or is there any discussion on the motion before I ask for a roll call vote? And members, I will remind you, you've probably been on a number of virtual meetings. It's much easier to say yes and no to be heard for the recording of your vote. So when your name is called, if you'll just say yes or no. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, then I'll ask Ms. Thomas to do a roll call vote.
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romoreno.
Yes. The motion passes. Congratulations and thank you for an awesome redesign. It is definitely hot.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this and approving it all, and we appreciate it. And you all have a great day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye. that takes us to item number 8 on our agenda. It's a request to redirect the fees received from the sale and the renewal of the Virginia and Truckee Railroad, the V&T special license plate. And I believe we have the presenters, the General Manager of Operations for V&T Railroad Commission, who will be making the request for the redirection of those fees. If you are there, please join us. You can get started now, and welcome.
Thank you. I believe you can see me. I'm Elaine Barkdahl Spencer. That's ELAINE BARKDULL SPENCER, and I'm the General Manager of the V&T Railway in Carson City. We submitted a letter for the redirection of funds to go directly to the Commission's Wells Fargo account. At this time, it goes to Story County and it then is redirected to our account or it reimbursed to us. In 2018, when we went before the Commission asking the Commission to redirect the funds in 2018, it was because the organization had reorganized through legislature, and it included Story County, Carson City as a visitors authority, VCTC, and then the state of Nevada. So we were down to a 5-person board and a much smaller organization. We also changed our accounting. We were between bank accounts. That's all changed. It's 2020 now. We have our own account. We are also, we were set up with our own account immediately, but it's just taken us a while to get here today due to, with our audits, we needed to go through the new Tyler system that the state all incurred, their new accounting system. So that's why we're here now. We would like to redirect the funds that we received from the DMV to directly go to the Nevada Commission for the reconstruction of the V&T Railway Wells Fargo bank account.
Thank you. And thank you for the work you've been doing on this. I know changing anything over administratively sometimes is taxing and it takes a long period of time, but you've been diligent in your work with it. So members, do you have any questions? Okay, seeing none. This again will be an action item that we will need to take a motion for the recommendation for the redirect of fees received from the sale and renewal of special license plate for the V&T plate. And with that, I'll ask for motion.
So moved.
Senator Washington makes the motion. May I get a second?
Second.
Assemblywoman Tolles makes a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will now ask Ms. Thomas to take a roll call vote.
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romarino.
Yes. And the motion passes. Congratulations. Now your work will be a little easier having things directed directly to your bank account. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, members. We are moving in a timely fashion. I love that. We're on to item number 9, an overview of the organizations that have submitted notification to the DMV to withdraw their special license plate application. I wanted to bring to your attention that 4 organizations that have submitted notifications to the DMV to withdraw their applications for special license plate in the first tier have received letters from the Food Bank of Northern Nevada, the United States Olympic Committee and the Sky Tavern Junior Sky Program, the National Association of Social Workers, and the Nevada Firearms Coalition. In the second tier, the Keep Memory Alive, Cleveland Clinic, Lou Ruvo Center for Brain Health has submitted a letter to withdraw its application. Copies of these letters are located in the Commission's website. The DMV has removed these organizations from their queue. Any questions on those removals? Ms. Thomas, do you have any further information on those?
No.
And seeing no questions, those letters are there for your review if you didn't get a chance to look at them prior to our meeting starting. And we'll move on to item number 10, which is a presentation and discussion of pending applications for special license plate. We'll hear presentations by several organizations that have submitted applications for special license plates to the DMV. As you heard earlier today, there are 2 tiers of specialty license plates, and there is a cap on the number of plates that each can be issued in the tier, and 30 plates for the first tier and 5 plates for the second tier. New plates are produced as openings become available in each tier. In the order applications were received by the DMV. This month, the DMV notified the commission there are currently 28 special license plate meetings that requirements in the first tier and 3 license plate in the second tier. Therefore, the commission may recommend to the DMV up to 2 new special license plate applications in the first tier and 2 applications in the second tier. The commission may make a recommendation to the DMV that it approve an organization's application pursuant to subsection 5 of NRS 482.3670004. If the commission makes such a recommendation to the DMV of the organization, it should be noted that the DMV makes the final determination of the application. This morning, we will have the opportunity to review these applications. Members on the commission's website are copies of each organization's presentations and its handouts. Additional information provided to the DMV by each organization, such as the surety bond information, the current budget, is available on the commission's webpage. Please use this information to follow along with the presentation. We will begin with the applications in the first tier. The first to make the presentation will be the Clark County Public Education Foundation, also known as the Public Education Foundation, will provide information to the commission regarding the organization's proposed special license plate. I believe Ms. Schur is here to make that presentation. And if you are, please begin. And then after that, we will have, if you are there, please begin.
I'm here. Good morning, Chair
Good morning.
Marina and members of the commission. And for the record, my name is Kirsten Sear. I'm the president of the Public Education Foundation, and I also have Charity Stevens here with me. She is our director of development. And we are very excited to give you a short overview of our organization and how we would utilize these funds today. So I'm going to share my screen. There we go. All right. So the Public Education Foundation was established in 1991, inspired by a belief that improving our public schools was too big of a task for a school district to undertake alone. We are a 501c3, and our mission is to bring about transformational change in teaching, learning, and education leadership. We mobilize community and business resources to ensure our schools prepare students for a learning economy. We also focus on programs that meet the needs of our most underserved students, providing equity and access for all kids. Yep. The foundation has served as the stabilizing voice in public education for almost 30 years. We have worked with 7 CCSD superintendents and 5 Nevada governors. Our board of directors has 63 members of the community who are deeply committed to improving our public schools. In total, we have raised more than $160 million since our founding, about $6 million a year in cash and over $3 million in in-kind donations annually. Each year, we are independently audited, and we currently have a silver seal of transparency from GuideStar, which puts us in the top 5.5% of education-related nonprofits in the country. We do this for students such as Kira, who deserve a quality education so they can meet their full potential. Last year, the foundation gave out $2.8 million in scholarships to CCSD students and charter school students pursuing 2 or 4-year certifications or degrees. While our scholarships are primarily for Southern Nevada students, we do have some opportunities for students outside of Clark County. Since 1995, we have awarded more than $19 million in college scholarships, and that includes investing more than $12 million into schools within the Nevada system of higher education. We are now seeing the fruits of the Scholarship Plus program in people like DeAndre Esteen, a scholarship recipient who received a scholarship almost 20 years ago.
Provide the scholarship for a student in 2020. In 2035, you meet that student, but they're not a student anymore. They're a member of our community. They're working for one of the largest corporations in the world. That student says to you, I was able to go to school because of the funds that you provided. I was able to have an education, provide for my family, and start my career because you helped me get there. It's an investment in a life, and it's an investment in our community, and it changes lives. And I am sitting here as proof of that.
Our Leadership Institute of Nevada develops a statewide network of leaders with the courage and capacity to solve public education's most difficult problems. The Leadership Institute is a partnership with the state of Nevada, which has invested about $2.3 million since the inception of the program. And the foundation has more than doubled that money with matching funds from the private sector and other donors. We have several programs within the Leadership Institute of Nevada, including the Executive Leadership Academy and the Teacher Leadership Academy. The Executive Leadership Academy includes administrators from around the state who have successfully been in their positions for several years and who want to bolster their impact with training from experts and practitioners from around the nation. We collaborated with nationally recognized thought leaders and practitioners to design the Executive Leadership Academy. Graduates have reported a deeper skill set for creative problem solving, strategic thinking, community building, and the practice of ethical and courageous leadership. We've also seen 95% of our alumni remain in education in Nevada. Principal Michelle Cruz Crawford, who's an alumna of our Executive Leadership Academy, told us that she learned skills and mindsets to develop, build, and transform her school to improve student outcomes. The Teacher Leader Academy works hand in hand with schools to identify and cultivate promising teacher leaders and to encourage them to stay in the classroom. The program aims to empower and retain our best teachers by creating a community of forward-thinking instructors, and we're proud that 96% of our alumni continue to teach for CCSD. Research indicates that more than 22% of Clark County School District Title I teachers leave the classroom every year, but our Teacher Leader Academy alumni are persisting in high poverty Title I schools. 84% of our alumni teach in high poverty Title I schools. The Teacher Leader Academy also gives teachers the tools they need to go beyond the walls of their classroom and influence their schools and communities. Many alumni, like teacher Daniel Lyles, report a renewed commitment to their profession. I'd also like to note that our Leadership Institute is equipped to find timely solutions to problems in public schools. For example, this summer, we piloted a Digital Leadership Academy for teachers and administrators with skills on how to deliver quality virtual learning, including additional social emotional support for our students in need during this pandemic. That program pilot was so successful that we are expanding to serve hundreds of teachers this school year and developing a second follow-up module due to popular demand from teachers who want to learn more of our best practices on distance learning. Our Teacher Exchange is a hub for teachers to receive new and gently used supplies and materials. We also provide high-quality professional development courses and workshops to support the work of teachers statewide and connect them to the community, again, in hopes of retaining them in the profession. During COVID-19, the Teacher Exchange teamed with other nonprofit groups to provide more than 60,000 totes of school supplies, workbooks, and books to students in need, many who did not have access to computers or their teachers when schools first closed. Over the last 3 years alone, the Teacher Exchange has distributed more than 8 million items into classrooms, and that includes more than $3 million worth of supplies last year to teachers. We are also expanding our program to support rural schools. We recently partnered with the Girl Scouts of Southern Nevada to provide supplies to teachers in Alamo, Nevada. And we have expanded our online ordering options and started to provide curbside pickup so that our educators can safely shop at the exchange. Research tells us that the average teacher spends about $480 of their own money on supplies each year. The exchange helps to alleviate this financial burden for teachers and provide them with materials that inspire creative instruction in the classroom. Our Artists for Kids program provides students with artistic experiences and opportunities to engage with local artists. Using performing arts, Artists for Kids allows students to discover and express strengths and abilities they never knew they had. The foundation hosts 4 art exhibitions every year in our art gallery, including paintings, drawings, photographs, sculptures, digital images, and video art. This year, we are planning multiple virtual exhibits that will give students the opportunity to express their feelings about the pandemic through art. And this is a little snippet of our most recent virtual art show. That show had just been put into place in our art gallery when everything closed down, hence why people were not wearing masks, but we were able to put it into a virtual format so that we could still show off the kids' work. The Family Learning Program is one of the few family engagement programs with a 2-generation approach. The program has been based at Title I schools and provides culturally diverse families with opportunity to cultivate the skills necessary to become their child's first best teacher. Parents and teachers work to minimize the opportunity gap by breaking down barriers and building communicative partnerships to support each child's development. The foundation also helps families break the cycle of poverty by providing life skills and workforce development training. When school buildings closed this year, we immediately adapted our program to support our alumni. Now that parents are serving as co-teachers to their students, we have adapted our curriculum to close the technology gap, and again, to provide social emotional support to students who are in need. We are planning to serve thousands of families this school year with our revised virtual programming. We have heard incredible stories from parents of how the program has changed the way they parent and the way that their child perceives school.
Por los recursos que tenemos y que nos sirven de mucho durante este tiempo que estamos pasando de la pandemia, ¿verdad? Como son los bancos de comida, las diferentes locaciones donde está un bus con wifi para los que no tienen internet, y yo les pediría que por favor sigan apoyando este programa porque nos es de mucha ayuda como padres en la educación de nuestros hijos y también como madres a superarnos, ¿verdad? Y ayudarles a ellos también a ser mejores personas. Muchas gracias.
So additional funding from the license plates would allow us to grow our impact in 4 areas. We will build on the momentum we've created to strengthen and expand our online support for parents, who we know will be taking on more of a role as co-teacher due to social distancing and digital learning. We also have a goal to increase donations from the community to the teacher exchange, so teachers have an even better variety of supplies to choose from. We would also utilize the funds to increase applications to our scholarship program to ensure that our applicant pool continues to reflect the district's diverse student population. And we work with some of the best thinkers in education from around the nation, and we are exploring creating an innovation lab that would test innovative new ideas and instructional methodologies. We will tackle timely issues such as how to provide quality digital instruction for every student. We believe that the community has an intense interest in improving our public school system, but they often don't know how to help. Purchasing a foundation license plate would be one way to show support for the almost 500,000 public school students in Nevada. And I will stop sharing. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you so much for the presentation, and thank you for the work that you're doing in our community. Commission members, do you have any questions before we move on to the next presentation in our queue?
Chair Moreno, Tony Manfredi, for the record, not a question, more just a comment. Really appreciate that this organization is providing significant opportunities for performing in visual arts, and that you've adapted to this during the pandemic. It's very thoughtful, and I really appreciate the focus on arts and culture. Thank you.
Thank you. We think that arts are more important than ever for our kids right now. We're seeing kids express a lot of the feelings that they have about the pandemic through art. And so we think that program is more important than ever. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Then we have next in our queue is Opportunity Village. I believe we have Adam Joseph, Vice President of Philanthropy, who will make the presentation. And if you are here, welcome, and please begin.
Madam Chair, my name is Tracy Brown May. Unfortunately, I'm not Adam this morning, but I am thrilled to be here to present on behalf of Opportunity Village. For the record, Tracy Brown May, Director of Advocacy Board and Government Relations, TRACYBROWN-MAY. We do have a presentation that I will screen share with you this morning.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us.
I wouldn't miss it. Okay, so you should be able to see the slideshow. As I said, we are happy to be here this morning to present to you for your consideration Opportunity Village for a Tier 1 special license plate. While I am the only person who is logged in and presenting on behalf of the organization this morning, there are many more members of our team who are logged in and anxiously awaiting this morning. Our application for a special license plate was first filed back in 2015, and while it has taken us 5 years to get here, we are very excited and patiently waiting. So let's start with a little bit of our history. Opportunity Village was founded in 1954 by 7 families who had children with disabilities. Those families went against the advice of their doctors and took their kids home to love and to raise. That remains the mission of our organization today. We are here to serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and to serve their families. We provide choices, we build connections, and we evolve as people. We support evolve so that we can all continue to grow and nurture people in their individual development and achievement of their personal goals. The numbers reported on this slide in our presentation are at the close of our fiscal year 2019. Our fiscal year 20 closed on June 30, and we have more recent numbers to report. Opportunity Village proudly served 1,199 people in adult services, employment, and school to work transition in fiscal year 20. We also served 1,805 students in the Clark County School District in a program called Very Important Arts. And we are continuing to do that even through this virtual environment. We have 747 employees, and we are proud to report that 24% of our workforce are people with disabilities. That accounts for 182 people, and those are just the ones that we know about that have chosen to disclose they have a disability. Wages paid to people that we serve with disabilities total more than $3.7 million in FY20 alone. We have a total of 372 people participating in non-wage-based programs, and that accounts for 31% of all of our program participants. We proudly increased the number of locations where we provide services to 65 in the last year. You will find Opportunity Village located throughout Southern Nevada in many different areas in our community. We have 43 contract locations where we provide employment. We have 16 program services partner locations where we work on school to work transition and socialization activities. And Opportunity Village proudly hosts 6 locations throughout our communities where we can launch. You'll find us in places like the Children's Museum, the Clark County Government Center, and McCarran International Airport, just to name a few. Our impact is far-reaching. While many of our sites closed in March in response to a global pandemic, we are pleased to have retained all of our staff throughout this entire period, and we quickly pivoted to provide remote services wherever possible. Now, every 2 years, Applied Analysis completes an economic impact analysis so that we can detail the true savings to Nevada taxpayers. We did not pursue that economic impact in the course of this last year because we are pivoting so quickly. We'll complete that before the year is out. However, the number that we last reported was staggering. As of our last official report, finalized just prior to the last legislative session, we can show a $46.9 million net subsidy for Nevada taxpayers. Without an opportunity village present in our community, Nevada taxpayers would have to account for those additional funds, or people with disabilities would simply go unserved. We look forward to continuing this trend and positively affecting our community in the future. The need is still great. The need for the services that we provide continue to grow. Even before the pandemic, the state waiting list for jobs and day training services had 130 people awaiting services. And the pandemic has identified even more areas of need. And the funding to support these specialized services is inadequate. It was inadequate even before. Now, we've seen a decline in available services as we've come through the pandemic, as some of the other service providers are opting to scale back the services that they provide as a way to remain viable. So it's now more important than ever that we continue to step up to meet the needs wherever they are. The number of people with disabilities continues to grow, and that means we need to grow services right alongside them. Now, the goal of our organization is to create possibility, to affect adults with diverse abilities. We've also expanded services to include school to work transition, so for high school age transition youth, and now are providing support services for elementary school children in arts and engagement programs. We are proud to provide rehabilitation services, pre-vocational training, and employment and recreational opportunities across Southern Nevada. We've grown in-home support services so that families who have individuals with the highest levels of need are not left unserved throughout this pandemic. Funding is a key consideration. Growing funding through every possible revenue stream helps to ensure this organization is strong and diverse to further support the next 60 years of service for people with developmental disabilities. That's what we need the funds for, to develop and support the programs that support people. People with highest support needs are most at risk of not having access to services. That includes people in need of nursing services like G-tube feedings, personal toileting care, or medication therapy. Those are all therapies that are part of our normal day, and there just isn't enough money to be able to support that need. We look ahead to developing new programs to support even more people, such as therapies that are not currently available. We're in the process of expanding into autism support services, and we're excited that we have a board-certified behavioral analysis on staff. We are just getting started. Now, the best way to show you the impact that we have is by sharing the stories of the people that we're blessed to interact with each day. Now, there is a video that has been attached in your support material, and we had intended to show it this morning because it really does show you the very best of who we are and what we do. Unfortunately, Broadcast and I were not able to get it to play well on your computers, and so I would encourage you to visit the link. It'll show you the stories like Sean, who's found a love of art and a new voice. Dana, who's found new skills despite having a traumatic brain injury. And Carlos, who's working on his communication each and every day. Each of the people that we serve has a story to share and a success to celebrate. So we want to make sure that we have that opportunity to celebrate that with you. Each of you has a personal relationship, I'm sure, with a person who has an intellectual or developmental disability. I know Assemblyman McCurdy has a relationship with Reggie, as they both attended the same high school, and Reggie has found a place here at Opportunity Village. That's just one example of a great success. The Opportunity Village Way is about making connections and stewarding relationships and creating inclusion. So the design that we've presented for your consideration is a collaborative work created by a group of artists interested in sharing the love that they have for OV and our community. They were very excited and wanted to make sure that we got it in front of you this morning. So that concludes our presentation. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. And we are happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you for the presentation. I love the license plate. Commission members, do you have any questions or comments? Great. Seeing none, I'll thank you again. So we've heard from the two for first tier, and now we will hear from the applicants for our second tier. The first in our queue will be the Neon Museum. They're the first organization. It would be Don Merritt, Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer. And the Director of Education and Outreach for the Neon Museum will be making the presentation. If you are in the queue, I don't see you. There you are.
Here.
You can be. Hi. Go ahead and start.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. We truly appreciate it. The Neon Museum is the only institution in the world dedicated to the collection, preservation, study, and exhibition of Las Vegas signs. Nowhere else can such a collection of recognizable signs be found. We are a 501c3. Our mission is to collect, preserve, study, and exhibit iconic Las Vegas signs for educational, historical, arts, and cultural enrichment. The museum brings the history and the arts to the forefront of the Las Vegas experience through innovative programs and exhibitions. For the community, it serves as an important resource for understanding local identity. For visitors to the city, it offers a deeper, more complex look at Las Vegas that goes beyond the familiar stereotype. And for everyone, the museum fosters an appreciation of Las Vegas signs and their place in national and international culture. So I'm going to share my screen. Get to the PowerPoint. I'll give you a little bit of our history. So this is the La Concha Hotel. It is the entry to the museum. It was built in '61 and it lived next to the Riviera Hotel on Las Vegas Boulevard. And it was brought to the museum in 8 pieces in 2006 and reassembled and that was made possible by donations and community support. It's now listed on the Nevada State Register of Historic Places. A brief chronology of the museum. In the 80s, the Allied Arts Council started saving the signs. In 1996, the museum was founded. 2012, we opened to the public in our current location. 2013, we attracted 39,647 visitors. In 2018, we restored the hard rock guitar, and it attracted global support from 43 states and 17 countries. 2019, we had 17 signs restored. We attracted 253,000 visitors, and we welcomed our 1 millionth visitor since opening. And most recently in 2020, just last week, we unveiled the newly re-illuminated Moulin Rouge sign. We have more than 1,800 households as members, and 43% of those are based in Nevada. There's our 1 millionth visitor. She's a kindergarten teacher, and she is a member, and she loves us, which we love her too. For FY 2020, we hope to attract 350,000 visitors. Our visitors represent 50 states, the District of Columbia, 4 territories, and 51 countries. But 74% of visitors who stay on the Strip come downtown to visit the museum. Currently in the Boneyard, there are 18 restored signs. 2 additional signs were received in working condition, which brings us to 24 total working signs. The collection also includes these 9 restored signs, which are part of the Las Vegas Signs Project, a public-private partnership with the City of Las Vegas and the Regional Transportation Commission that places restored neon signs throughout the city. 7 of these signs are on Las Vegas Boulevard. COVID-19 forced us to really rethink how we were doing things, so we launched a Love Our Vegas campaign. And so for a special price of $10, our locals could see general admission or brilliant. And during the time that we offered it, 6,000 Nevadans took advantage of it. We also offer during the month of August and September a pay-as-you-go campaign. That's where it's locals focused and locals pay only what they can afford. They can see us for free. They can give us a donation. It doesn't matter. We just want them to come see us. And starting in October, we are going to offer a Museums for All program. It's a food assistance recipients will pay up to $3 per person. And like I said, we launched that in October. Now, visitors have many information sources when they come to see us. Our interpreters undergo a vigorous training program, and staff adheres to strict ethical guidelines, best practices, and general museum and collection rules. We have a free online smartphone guide. Pre-COVID, you had to be on site to access it, but now we've made it available to the general public whenever they want to visit us. We have themed gallery talks and guided tours. We have an illustrated guidebooks for self-direction. We have online video tours and lectures, and we just recently launched a 360-degree virtual tour. For $10, you can visit the museum anytime you want. It's yours forever to share and love. I'm now going to turn it over to Randy, who's going to talk about how money generated from the license plate would be used by the museum.
Good morning, Commission members. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to present how the license plate will help support and expand the educational activities that we have at the Neon Museum. To start with, once we get schools back to whatever regular is, we will continue with our free museum tours for students, especially for Title I schools. We also continue with our community and outreach programs to engage lifelong learners, and we will also provide programming for multiple audiences and people of all ages. We will also continue with our educating our educators through CCSD's PDE program, and we will also bring back our junior interpreters tours, whereby we train usually a high school student to become an interpreter, and then they would conduct their own tours, usually one Saturday per month. Next slide. The revenue from the license plates will also help expand our offerings. One of our offerings include our off-site exhibitions, then and now. We will have plans to install that exhibit in McCarran Airport. And then once more libraries open up, we will also have our exhibition in libraries as well. We'll also continue with our outreach presentations, whereby we talk about Vegas history, how it ties in with the Neon Museum, continuing with our partners in UNLV, CCSN, and of course, all other museums. Next slide. License plate revenue will also support our creative aging program. This program is partially grant funded, but we offer this programming for seniors 55 and over, whereby we recruit local artists to teach workshops in visual arts, performing arts, storytelling, and such. We have a plan to reach out and begin next month with Doolittle Senior Center. Next. Revenues from the plates will also help support our National Artists in Residence project. We are very proud to announce that this year we have an international artist who will be coming out from Nigeria. This is public programming for our public and for the community that will help engage our community members and all of our visitors with a renowned teaching artist. Next slide. Finally, the license plate revenue will help with our Scholar in Residence program, whereby we try to recruit our notable scholars from within our own community, scholars who are tied in with history, art, design, and agriculture. They usually will present panel discussions and lectures and remind you all, this is all free of charge to the public. Thank you for the opportunity again, and thank you. It's good seeing all the friends of the museum and education. Back to you, Ms. Dawn.
Thank you, Randy. So our collection may be old, but Brilliant, which is held in our North Gallery, is a unique production that uses cutting-edge technology. It adds an unexpected visual dimension to a visit, It was selected as the best new attraction in Best of Las Vegas 2018. It's a light and sound experience. It takes guests through our signs on a trip to the past where the vintage signs come to life. This collaboration with Craig Winslow, who's the artist, creates the illusion of thousands of long dead bulbs and neon coming to life independently of each other. The museum also has an extensive archive collection with more than 2,000 artifacts. We have a significant and growing collection of original sign renderings and technical drawings, photographs, and oral histories. We also collect items related to the commercial signage or branding of the properties represented in our sign collection. These include items like pins, postcards, matchbooks, letterhead, keychains. Recent additions include renderings from Federal Heath, a Mr. O'Lucky, the mascot of Fitzgerald's Hotel and Casino vase from the casino, and $1 tokens from the Lady Luck, O'Shea's, Showboat, and Silver Saddle Saloon. This is part of our future plans. It would hopefully be our new home, a dramatically remodeled and revitalized Reed Whipple Cultural Center. It's across the street from the museum right now, and we are going to call it NE10. NE is the element symbol for neon, and 10 is its atomic number. And that's what we're going to call this building. And it's also appropriate, we feel, because neon, as you know, is also the official state element. It will enhance the cultural center, an area on both sides of Las Vegas Boulevard, north from the freeway to Washington. The cultural corridor is comprised of the Neon Museum, Las Vegas Natural History Museum, the Old Las Vegas Mormon Fort, and Cashman Field. The corridor also includes a mall museum, even though it's not technically within the boundaries. At NE10, we will have an expanded education center and classrooms. And one special benefit of the new location is we will have an area that will enable neon bending demonstrations and workshop and glass bending classes. We will have more indoor space, which means more year-round programming, expanded display of exhibits and room for traveling exhibits, expanded gallery space, a place for career, science, and tech fairs, improved state-of-the-art archive space. And with all of this, we anticipate more school visits, more students, more learning experiences, and many more engagement opportunities. This is what they say about us. USA Today, TripAdvisor, Forbes, Vegas.com, and most recently, Las Vegas Weekly named us Best Museum in its all-time Best of Vegas Awards 2020. We are a very popular location for film and photo shoots. Some of our more recent examples include PBS Road Trip, Rock and Roll Bride magazine, and if you're a fan of Love Island, yes, we were on it Monday night. On social media, we have a very robust following with 14 million on Twitter, 14,000 on Twitter, 1.1 million on Facebook, and more than 111,000 on Instagram. Now, what's important about this is our Facebook followers are more than that of the Getty and LACMA combined. Getty has 333,000, with LACMA coming in at 343,000. We are very popular in the media. We enjoy worldwide media outlets. As you can see, CBS this morning, they did extensive coverage of our Tim Burton exhibition. So as a result of all of this, our 2019 media impressions were at 4.2 billion. And if we had paid for that coverage, it would have been valued at $118 billion. Our Tim Burton exhibition garnered 2.5 billion impressions, valued at 71 million. And our Love Our Locals campaign garnered 10.5 million impressions, valued at 290,000. So our grand opening, not including Tim Burton or our Love campaign, we garnered 15.5 billion media impressions with a value of 319 billion. Now, we will use all of these robust platforms and media outreach to promote the availability of the license plate, as well as promote it in our museum store. And we will also promote it via email blasts, newsletters, based in our newsletters that are sent to our Nevada constituents. And that is all I have.
Madam Chair, I believe you're still muted.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Members of the commission, do you have any questions or comments for the presenter?
Chair Moreno, Tony Manfredi, again, for the record. Just want to comment that the Neon Museum plays a really important role in celebrating and preserving our unique Nevada history. It's a great example of a cultural tourism asset that draws visitors to the state to experience, authentically experience really unique to Nevada experiences and spend time and money while they're here. I also really appreciate the fact that the organization is looking at these funds going towards creative aging opportunities. This is a critical need for the state, as well as artist residencies. I think both of those are fantastic opportunities that this could provide. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Any other commission members? All right, seeing none. Thank you again. Moving on to our next presenter, we'll hear from Mr. Tom Kovac, with the Executive Director of the Friends of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Foundation. If you are here, please begin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Kovac, T-O-M-K-O-V-A-C-H. I'm the Executive Director of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Foundation. And I am joined by my colleague, Flor, who will introduce herself now.
Good morning, Madam Chair Monroe Moreno and members of the Commission. Thanks for allowing us the opportunity to present this morning.
Flor and I are representing not only the foundation, our supporters of over 5,000 people, and a department of 6,000 people, but also all of their families, and as you'll find out, families and residents throughout Southern Nevada and Nevada, because the impact of this foundation not only is in Southern Nevada, but will be throughout the entire state as we continue to build projects that will be supported by the revenue raised from the license plates that we hope to achieve with your support. I know that some of you have heard from some of our board members and supporters, and I thank you for having those conversations with people like Assemblyman Tom Roberts, Judy Stokey with NV Energy, and former LVMPD Assistant Sheriff Greg McCurdy. We are grateful for their support and for your consideration. The LVMPD Foundation has two goals. One is to raise money to support LVMPD and create a safer community for us all. We support initiatives that prevent crime, save lives, improve and uplift communities, and make Southern Nevada and our entire state a safer place to live, work, and visit. The second objective we have is to build a stronger relationship between law enforcement and the community, and in particular, communities that have historically had less positive experiences with law enforcement, including communities of color, and in particular, the Black community. We were founded in 1999, but our impact has really only taken over the last half decade or so. It was then that Sheriff Doug Gillespie, along with other leaders of the department, including then Assistant Sheriff Greg McCurdy, believed that the foundation could have much greater impact. As an example of what we've been able to achieve, we were raising about $200,000 5 years ago on an annual basis, and last year we raised over $10 million. And while we have a diverse and broad array of events and programs, as you'll see in the materials we presented to you, we are going to focus on our two priorities that we developed a couple of years ago and are continuing to use as our priorities going forward. The first is training and technology, and the second is community engagement and community-oriented policing. These are two priorities that current Sheriff Joe Lombardo outlined when he took office for his first term and recommitted when he was reelected for his second term. In terms of training and technology, I'll give you a few examples. The first are body-worn cameras. Our police department was needing to test the use of body-worn cameras a few years ago. And there was not enough funding in the regular budget for that test. And so they looked to the foundation to provide the funding so that the first group of officers could be outfitted with body-worn cameras. Based on the success of that test, the department was then able to put forth funding and get it secured through the regular budgeting process. And in so doing, became the first major city police department in the nation to outfit its entire patrol force with body-worn cameras. That perhaps never would have happened had the foundation not been available to provide the seed money for the pilot program. Another example is a technology called ShotSpotter, which basically allows the police department to be notified of gunfire when there's no one around to do it. A few years ago, we were asked to provide $500,000 in funding for a pilot project in two 3 square mile areas of Las Vegas in Clark County. Based on the success of that test, the department was able to secure millions of dollars to expand those tests to include each of the commission districts in Clark County. It is the department's expectation that because of this technology, we are going to be able to create true, meaningful impact in reducing gun violence in the areas of Southern Nevada that have seen the highest rates of gun violence historically. Again, the foundation provided the seed money, $500,000, that's turned into a multi-million-dollar investment in the safety of our community. And lastly, in terms of technology and training, we have embarked upon a $25 million capital campaign to build a world-class reality-based training center that will not only train the officers of Metro, but will also train all first responder agencies in Southern Nevada, and ultimately will be a place for training for law enforcement and first responders throughout the state. And here is where we really will see that our foundation will have an impact not only in Southern Nevada, but for residents and visitors and businesses throughout our entire state. And very importantly, given recent events, this training center will allow the very progressive de-escalation training and policies and the very progressive use of force policies that LVMPD has adopted, among the most progressive in the nation, to have a greater opportunity for more officers, not only within LVMPD, but all law enforcement around the area and throughout the state to be trained so that they will be in a much better position to use less force, use less deadly force, creating a safer environment for themselves and all people in Nevada. The second area of our impact are community engagement, events, programs, and community-oriented policing. In terms of events, you'll see many listed in the packet that we provided you, but we have developed events in particular to help build bridges between underrepresented groups and law enforcement. One of those is the Wonder Woman of Metro Luncheon, which specifically is geared to recognizing the wonderful work of the females in the department and give them an opportunity to build relationships with female business and community leaders so that following that luncheon, they'll have built relationships that they could use to help themselves become stronger police officers and stronger female leaders, not only in the department, but in the community. The second event I'll highlight is Cops and Canvas, our annual art auction and reception. We built this program on the belief that police officers are human beings. They have interests and talents that go well beyond law enforcement. And one of those is the artistic side of police officers. And so we use this event to not only raise awareness of those artistic talents and showcase them, but also to give the art community in Southern Nevada the opportunity to support law enforcement. Other events and programs among community engagement, two that are particular to note, are Little League in Bolden Area Command, which has been operating now for a couple of years. And that gives the opportunity for young people in that community to have a productive opportunity to engage with officers in a non-threatening way. But it also gives them something to do skills to learn that prevent idleness and create less likely that opportunities for them to engage in petty crime or other types of activities. The second is what we call RECAP, Rebuilding Every City Around Peace. It's a coalition of law enforcement, faith-based community leaders, and businesses. And the goal is to create a culture of trust by sharing information and resources within the coalition so that we can combat and neutralize cultures of violence that exist around the Valley. So as an example, in 2019, through the efforts of the LVMPD Foundation and our funding, over 160,000 families in Southern Nevada had the opportunity to participate in one of the department's community engagement efforts. Our funding was over $120,000 last year, doing things like back to school drives, pedestrian safety, health and wellness, and shop with a cop or Santa cops during the holidays. This year, we're investing significantly more. As an example, we invested $100,000 to purchase 10,000 backpacks filled with school supplies for officers to distribute to families who otherwise would not be able to afford them or didn't have access to them, helping those families have a head start to the school year, just like the families who could afford them do each and every year. The Bolton Area Command sports programs have expanded to now include a soccer league. And this Thanksgiving, we will host the largest turkey drive in the department's history that will support 12,000 families in the Valley. And lastly, to note, we have formed a partnership with the AANCP. We have worked very closely with local chapter president Roxanne McCoy to develop a series of initiatives that will create and foster much more authentic relationships between law enforcement and the Black community. And we are very proud to say that Roxanne wrote a letter of support for the Reality-Based Training Center, and we are looking forward to continuing to work with her to develop these programs and initiatives. Like everything I've mentioned thus far, technology training, the Reality-Based Training Center, community engagement programs like the Bolton Little League, like the RECAP program, are all areas that will be supported by the sale of these license plates. And lastly, it's not in your packet because it's just under development, but are these initiatives to foster greater relationships between law enforcement and the Black community. The initiatives that we are preparing include focus on building stronger relationships between elementary school students in the Bolton Area Command and law enforcement through programs such as Reading with a Cop, Writing with a Cop, and Cooking with a Cop. We're planning on taking the Adult Citizens Police Academy that currently is under operation and expanding it to include high school students so that they have a better understanding of how law enforcement operates. We're looking to expand the Explorer program to give young people the opportunity to engage in law enforcement activities and team building activities and skills building activities, and we'll be particularly recruiting from communities of color. We're looking to expand a program called Independence in You that will get the opportunity for middle and high school students to learn not only their responsibilities under the law, but also their rights. And lastly, we're looking to create greater opportunities for community-based policing by looking at funding residences for officers to live in the communities that they serve so they don't go home at night and only come back in the morning. And looking to fund community centers that involve law enforcement, as well as all of the other social support programs that are required and are so important in keeping our communities healthy and therefore safer. So I thank you very much for listening to our presentation and for considering our proposal for a license plate. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. And I believe I have a question from Senator Washington. Go ahead, Senator.
Yes, I do have a question for Tom. First of all, I mean, your plate is full, and accolades to you for providing all the services you have done. My one question is are you guys, let's see, first, let me go back. Okay. As far as your training and your camera equipment, is that now being covered by the state or federal funding now instead of you guys having to pay for that?
So in terms of the body-worn cameras, yes, that piece of equipment, that technology is now covered in the regular budget by the police department, and so that's covered by public money. In terms of the training center, this first phase that we're raising $25 million for, and we've raised almost $17 million to date, and we broke ground last month. That is a privately funded project that has many phases, and it is anticipated that future phases, perhaps not phase 2 or phase 3, but when we get into phase 4, 5, and 6, that there will be significant, if not exclusive, public money put toward that project. A lot of that money would come from the federal government. It's just that, as you all know, it can take a lot of time to secure federal resources. And so the urgency of this training center is so great that the department asked the foundation to fund the first phase entirely on our own. Senator, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions from the commission? Okay, seeing none, I thank you so much for your presentation. And we will move on to our last presentation. It's the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or better known as UFC. They'll provide information on the proposed special license plate to the commission. And I believe Mr. Smith, Director of Corporate Communications, will be joining us. If you are there, please start, and welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. On behalf of myself, Brian Smith, BRIAN SMITH, and my colleague Dakota Ortiz, thank you for allowing us to present this application today. You know, as the world's premier mixed martial arts organization, UFC is proud to call Nevada home. As the first professional sports brand to be headquartered in Nevada, UFC has been active in the local community for more than 2 decades. We're committed to partnering with Nevada-based nonprofits to advocate for youth education, military veterans, and active service men and women, first responders, gender equality, those who fight to overcome critical illnesses, and those who have the will to excel despite physical and mental challenges. You know, our goal is to continue to make a positive impact on the community through our efforts with our corporate social responsibility program. And we believe that the funds raised from the specially licensed plates can help play a big part in that. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go to our video here. I'm going to share a screen to show this real quick. Oh, I have that. Oh, sorry. Share.
UFC is the world's premier mixed martial arts organization, and we are proud to call Nevada home.
The UFC is a global brand, but Las Vegas, Nevada is our home. The UFC has always been actively involved in the community from a charitable standpoint, both directly on the ground here in the Valley and throughout the entire state of Nevada for more than 2 decades. Not only is Las Vegas the global headquarters of the UFC, it's also home to 80% of our staff, who are equally as active in giving back to the local community. We have great long-standing partnership with local chapters of Make-A-Wish, Ronald McDonald House, 3 Square Food Bank, Boys and Girls Club, Opportunity Village, the American Red Cross, and many, many more. We partner with them as a way to raise awareness and help them gain support for their causes. We've launched several charitable campaigns by aligning our efforts with local nonprofit organizations to help raise both awareness and much-needed funds for their initiatives.
Together, UFC and the Endeavor Foundation are committed to improving community and civic health by supporting various charitable organizations and initiatives throughout the state of Nevada. UFC and the Endeavor Foundation are committed to increasing community and civic health in 4 key ways: funding and programming for public health, community development, general welfare, and growing the sport of mixed martial arts by funding youth programs related to the disciplines that serve as the foundation of MMA.
The name Las Vegas is known worldwide. We treasure the key to the city, and nobody is more deserved of having that key than this great guy. So congratulations, Dana. Thank you.
Our next step is to integrate our statewide fan base with that license. Especially license plate program will benefit UFC and our statewide fan base by providing opportunity for us to generate fully to help nonprofit organizations and charitable programs throughout the state. The license plates will also become a source of pride, not just for employees, but for our fans who are proud that one of the world's premier sports organizations calls Nevada home. This is also a way for every motorist throughout the entire state to partner with UFC and know that their registration and renewal fees will go to support local charities here in Nevada.
UFC works tirelessly to make a positive impact on the local and statewide community through the efforts of our organization's social responsibility program. UFC is looking forward to collaborating with the Nevada Department of Motor Vehicles on an impactful community program that benefits this great state.
We also provided a PDF presentation, a packet of our 2018-2019 report that I believe that everyone has a copy of. One thing I'd like to point out there is that in 2018 and 19, we hosted 4 50-50 raffles during our 4 annual events in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena, and were able to raise more than $225,000 to benefit local nonprofit organizations, Make-A-Wish Southern Nevada, Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation, Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada, and Miracle Flights. And even though, being headquartered here and having other events around the world, we have 4 to 5 signature events here annually, but we'd like to be, more consistent with raising money and being able to donate funds to local Nevada-based charities on a monthly basis. And one way that we would do that would be with the funds raised from the specialty license plates, and then also other areas that we've worked with other organizations to help launch, such as the Nevada Gaming Control Board, where we've now helped develop online 50-50 raffle campaigns that are statewide for all those within the state at time of purchase, as long as you're 18 years or older. We actually have one of those that's ongoing right now with all net proceeds benefiting Cure for the Kids Foundation in recognition of September, which is also Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So the funds that would come from the specialty license plate will be able to make a bigger impact for us across the state by being able to partner with more Nevada-based charities, even when we don't have events based here.
Thank you for that presentation. Members, any questions for the presenters? I apologize, I'm multitasking. It's digital classroom and committee time.
No problem.
Apologize. Okay. Seeing no questions, I thank you so much for your presentation and for the work that you're already doing in our community and your goals for your future partnership with local nonprofits here in our community.
Thank you, and thank everyone for the time.
So members, that brings us to our next item on our agenda, which is agenda item 11. It is our work session. The work session document is available on our webpage, and it contains a list of the pending special license plate and possible bill draft requests. I will ask Ms. Thomas to walk us through the document.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Margie Thomas with the Research Division of LCB. As you just stated, the work session document has been uploaded to the committee's website, and as a reminder, it is designed to assist the commission in determining which legislative measures it will request for the 2021 session, as well as other actions the commission may endorse. The commission is limited to 10 legislative measures. The document also contains applications submitted to the DMV with organizations requesting a special license plate. The DMV may design and prepare a special license plate if the DMV determines the application complies with certain requirements, and the commission recommends the DMV approval of the application. The organizations applying for special license plates listed in this document do not have the support or opposition of the commission. Instead, these possible actions are compiled and organized so that members may review them to decide whether they should be recommended to the DMV. The organizations are not preferentially ordered. They are listed in order of submittal of their applications to the DMV and the commission. And finally, it should be noted that if the commission recommends to the DMV the application for the design, preparation, and issuance of special license plates, the DMV, if it approves the application, would begin designing the special license plate in cooperation with the sponsoring organization. And all plate designs are subject to the approval of the DMV. So the first group is the special license plates under consideration. And the first one is the Clark County Public Education Foundation, also called the Public Education Foundation.
Thank you. Members, I will recommend a motion to accept the Clark County Public Education Foundation, also known as the Public Education Foundation Special License.
So moved, Assemblywoman Tolles.
Thank you.
Second, Assemblyman McCurdy.
I have a first and second from Assemblywoman Tolles, Assemblyman McCurdy. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Ms. Thomas, will you call a vote?
Senator Washington?
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles?
Yes.
Chairman Moreno?
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to the next, Ms. Thomas.
The next organization is Opportunity Village, the ARC.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Senator Washington and a dual second by the sounds of it.
I would defer to Assemblyman McCurdy for that one.
A second from Assemblyman McCurdy. And any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Senator Washington?
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles?
Yes.
Chairman Moreno?
Yes. Motion passes. We'll move on. That covers our first tier, and we'll move on to our second tier. Ms. Thomas?
That would be the Neon Museum.
Members, I'll accept
So moved.
from Assemblyman McCurdy, second.
Marks. Second.
Second from Senator Washington. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, you can call the roll.
Senator Washington?
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles?
Yes.
Chairman Moreno?
Yes. Motion passes. And now that moves us on to the next item.
That is Friends of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police.
So moved.
Senator Washington made the motion. There a second?
Second.
Assemblywoman Tolles. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, out of an abundance of caution and after consulting with our team and having heard my uncle's name referenced in the presentation, I am going to abstain out of an abundance of caution and wouldn't be voting as an abstention.
Thank you, Assemblyman McCurdy. So with that, Ms. Thomas, if you'll call the roll.
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romero.
Yes, motion passes. That brings us up to the last plate, and I am going to ask, I know there was only 2 spots left for the tier 2, so I recommend approval of the UFC application to the DMV if there is an available slot in tier 2 before July 1st of 2021. And I'd ask for a motion.
I second that.
I have a first from Assemblyman McCurdy.
A second.
A second from Assemblywoman Tolles. Ms. Thomas, would you call the vote?
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romero.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you all. And that takes us to the next item, item B on our work session. Ms. Thomas?
This is to draft a bill providing that if the Commission on Special License Plates recommends that the DMV suspend a special license plate pursuant to subsection 4B of NRS 482.38279, the department, in consultation with the Commission, is authorized to 1, change the status of the suspended license plate to be suspended with conditions, or 2, terminate the special license plates.
Thank you. Members, any questions concerning this agenda item?
I have no questions, Madam Chair. I'm happy to make a motion.
Well, before we do that, I'm going to ask our legal to explain why this change is needed before we go to the vote.
Thank you, Chair Monroe Moreno, Alan Amburn, Deputy Legislative Counsel, for the record. So the purpose behind this change is when there is a situation involving a charitable organization that is not complying with the standards that we have regarding to their financial records, or if there's a situation where the legislative auditor determines that there's a failure to comply, or among various other situations, a process occurs as a result of that. And then once that process occurs, if the commission decides that it's going to stand beside its decision that they are in violation of these standards, then the department can take one of 3 actions. One is to terminate the production and distribution of the special license plate. The second action is to suspend the production and distribution of the special license plate and the collection of the fees. And then the third is a suspension of the distribution of the fees, but they'll, I believe, continue to collect those fees. And so what we have is a situation where that first suspension, it in a sense almost acts as a termination because there's not necessarily a mechanism from which that suspension can be removed. And so the goal of this is to therefore provide a mechanism so that way that suspension class can then either move on to a termination or move on to the second type of suspension where we can probably resolve issues.
Thank you so much for that explanation. Members, any questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, I will ask for a motion on item B on our work session agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion,
Second.
a motion from Assemblywoman Tolles, a second from Senator Washington. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
McCurdy, yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romarino.
Yes, motion passes. That moves us on to item C on our work session agenda. Ms. Thomas?
The third one is submitting artwork for a special license plate. This would be to draft a bill to require an organization to submit its license plate artwork to the DMV within 180 days of recommendation by 1, the Commission on Special License Plates to the DMV to approve its application, or 2, a special license plate approved by the legislature and signed by the governor. An organization that fails to submit the license plate artwork within 180 days is deemed to have forfeited the plate. Additionally, an organization has 30 days to respond to the DMV once the DMV provides the organization with a formatted license plate design for its approval. An organization that does not respond in writing to the DMV with an approval and or request to make additional modifications to the proposed design is deemed to have accepted the proposed special license plate design.
Commission members, any questions on item C on our work session agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will accept a motion for item C, submitting artwork for a special license plate.
So moved.
A motion from
Second.
a second from Assemblyman McCurdy. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, will you call the vote?
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romarino.
Yes. Motion passes. It takes us on to item D on our work session. Ms. Thomas?
This addresses alphanumeric sequencing on all special license plates. This would be to draft a bill to allow the DMV to determine alphanumeric character sequencing on all special license plates. Effective July 1, 2021, except as otherwise provided pursuant to NRS 42.37933, which is the Lake Tahoe Basin Special License Plate. All sequential passenger vehicle special license plates must hold 5 positions to include a series of the respective stack character set and alphanumeric character. And all sequential motorcycle special license plates must hold 4 positions to include a series of the respective stack character set and alphanumeric characters.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Members, any questions? All right. Seeing none, I will accept a motion to approve item D on our work session agenda, the alphanumeric sequencing on all special license plates.
So moved.
I have a first from Senator Washington. Can I get a second?
Second.
A second from Assemblywoman Tolles. Any discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Senator Washington,
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy,
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles,
Yes.
Chairman Romarino.
Motion passes. And that brings us up to our last item on our work session. I'll ask Ms. Thomas to go through the explanation, and then I'm going to turn it over to our legal division for further explanation before we go to a motion and a vote.
So E is transferring the duties and responsibilities of the Commission on Special License Plates to the DMV. This would be to request a bill draft to transfer all of the duties and responsibilities of the commission to the DMV and transfer all duties and responsibilities for financial investigations of charitable organizations that receive additional fees from special license plates from the legislative auditor to the DMV.
Thank you, Chair. Alan Ambrin for the record. I also wanted to clarify that it was the intent of this commission to abolish the commission through this bill draft request.
Thank you for that. And members and staff, while I have served on this interim committee now for 2 interims, and I know the hard work that goes into it, but it is my personal belief that we do a lot of repetitive work. And if there's a way that we can cut down on work for both legislators and our staff and the DMV, we should do that. So with that, thank you for the work that you've done. But I would love to abolish this committee. So I will accept a motion for item E.
Madam Chair, this is Jill Tolles, Assemblywoman Tolles. Just had a quick question. Would we still have a report from if we were to abolish it and transfer those duties to the DMV, would we still have some sort of report back to the legislature, perhaps the Committee of Growth and Infrastructure, on the any additions or subtractions in the future? Only because there is a nexus there between us passing legislation to approve these license plates, and I think that accountability measure would be happy to transfer that over to the DMV, but still have those reports to be able to follow up as legislators.
And I will defer to legal, but it is my understanding that those reports would still come to us, and all the items that come before the Growth and Infrastructure Committee currently would still remain intact. But I will defer to legal to make sure that I am correct in that.
Thank you, Chair Monroe Moreno. Alan Ambrin for the record. We can clarify in the bill draft request that the reports would come to the appropriate committee, in this case, the Committee on Growth and Infrastructure.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. With that, I so moved.
Thank you. I have a motion from Assemblywoman Tolles, because I believe Senator Washington was trying to make the motion, but she was muted. So,
second.
Perfect. Thank you. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, Ms. Thomas, I'll call for a vote.
Senator Washington?
Yes.
Assemblyman McCurdy?
Yes.
Assemblywoman Tolles?
Yes.
Chairman Moreno?
Yes. Well, thank you, members. That was the last item on our work session agenda. And that brings us to our last item on our agenda for today. We will take a short break to allow people that would like to call in under public comment to give them a chance to do that. Our last item on our agenda is public comment. As a reminder, to provide public comment, please call 669-900-6833 and then enter the meeting ID, which is 921-8649-6076, and then press the pound sign. We'll be in recess for approximately 3 minutes to get the public comment line going.
Hello, this is Julie Butler from DMV. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great, thank you. I do have, we were expecting this decision from the commission. I do want to express one concern, however, is in the auditing function. And that's something that we would hope to work out with the committee and because that would be an impact to the staff to perform auditing function of the individual entities that are receiving the benefits from these special plates. And I don't have the staff currently to take on that function. So that would be something that as we get the bill draft requests, we would definitely want to discuss.
Thank you for comments. I'm going to bring our committee back to order and out of recess. And is your comment under public comment? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I didn't, during the work session, I didn't think you accepted public comment, so.
Well, thank you. And perhaps as we work through how the BDR is written, we can address some of those things and have further discussion. I know you and I have this earlier in the interim and my intentions for this committee, so we can work through that as we work through the BDR.
Excellent, and that was my hope. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Broadcast staff, do we have anyone else in the queue for public comment?
Madam Chair, the line is up and working. However, the public comment lobby is empty.
Okay. So with that, members, I would say this is probably the easiest interim committee we've had this interim. Thank you so much for your patience and your diligence, and for everyone that has been waiting for this meeting to happen. It was pushed off a few times before for COVID and special session. I thank you for your patience with me and my committee and our staff. And for the committee and the staff, thank you for all the work that you've done to get us here. So with that, this meeting is adjourned, and I wish you all a wonderful day.